All right, let's dive into something that's really at the heart of the Australian identity cricket. But this isn't just about bats and balls. It's a story, a saga, really, full of pioneers, epic rivalries, and larger than life legends that have helped shape a whole nation. So let's get right into it.
No, seriously, take a second. What's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it maybe the sound of a roaring crowd on Boxing Day? Or that iconic baggy green cap? Or maybe it's something a little more specific?
Like the Ashes, right? That unbelievable rivalry that pretty much brings two whole nations to a standstill every couple of years. It's this century long battle for bragging rights.
Or maybe it's a name that just became a synonym for greatness. A batsman so good, he felt more like a myth than an actual person.
Okay, but hold that thought. Because what if I told you that the story you think you know isn't really the beginning? The real start is one of the most amazing and honestly overlooked stories in the history of sports.
Look at this. This is the first Australian cricket team to ever tour England. We're talking about 13 First Nations men, stockmen from Western Victoria, who made this incredible journey way back in 1868. That's a full decade before the team that usually gets called the first. Their story is just packed with incredible talent and toughness against, well, everything. And that's where our story really has to begin.
I mean, just look at the numbers. The scale of this tour was just mind-boggling. They were on the road for 6 months, playing a brutal schedule of 47 matches all across England. And their record? 14 wins, 14 losses, and 19 draws. This was no novelty act. These guys were seriously competitive.
And the star of the team, a watchable-look man named Una Araman, you might know him as Johnny Mulla, was an absolute force of nature. He was an all-arounder who just dominated. Those numbers, 1,698 runs and 245 wickets, would be legendary in any era of the game.
So, from that incredible forgotten story, let's jump forward to the tale that would define Australian cricket for the world. And, believe it or not, it all starts with a death notice in a newspaper. So here's how it went down. It's 1882, Australia pulls off this shocking victory, their first ever test win on English soil. The English press, well, let's just say they had a very particular sense of humor about it. A few days later, this mock obituary appears, and just like that, a legend is born. The English captain at the time, Ivo Bligh, then famously promised he'd go to Australia to regain those ashes. And here it is, the actual text from this Sporting Times. This little piece of satire is what created an icon. This idea that English cricket was dead, that it had been cremated, and that its ashes were now in Australia, it just completely captured everyone's imagination. It gave the rivalry its name forever. And here's the thing, the ashes isn't just an idea, it's a real thing. It's this tiny little urn, it might have even been an old perfume jar, that was given to the English captain on that very next tour. The story goes that it holds the ashes of a burnt wooden bale, and it became the literal, physical trophy for one of the greatest rivalries in sports. Now, you absolutely cannot tell the story of Australian cricket without talking about him. He was more than a player. During the Great Depression, he was a symbol of perfection, of hope. He was, of course, Sir Donald Bradman. His impact was just so massive that even decades after he retired, prime ministers were still talking about him like this. This is from a speech in 1987, where the PM is basically cementing the Bradman legend as a key part of the Australian story. I mean, just think about that. To be held in such high regard that the leader of your country says something like that about you, it just perfectly sums up the almost mythical status he had. Bradman wasn't just a sportsman, he was a national hero.
And this is the reason why. This one number, 99.94, is probably the most famous statistic in any sport anywhere. That was Don Bradman's career test batting average. Now, to give you some perspective, most of the all-time great batsmen average somewhere around 50. Bradman was on a completely different planet. And this is the most poetic, almost tragic final scene. In his very last test match, he walks out to bat needing just 4 runs. 4. To retire with an average of exactly 100. The whole world is watching. And he gets out for a duck. 0. That single moment of imperfection, of being human, somehow it just made his legend even bigger. Okay, so let's fast forward to the modern era. If Bradman was this picture of quiet, relentless perfection, our next legend was the total opposite. He was a rock star, a showman, a guy who completely reinvented his craft.
We're talking, of course, about Shane Warne. He brought this incredible flair, this drama, and, yeah, a bit of chaos to the game. Before him, leg spin bowling was seen as this dying art. Warne almost single-handedly made it the most exciting thing in cricket.
And this was his opening act, his very first ball in an Ashes series in England. It pitches way, way outside the batsman's legs, and then it just rips back across him to hit the top of the off stump. It was so unbelievable, so impossible, it was instantly nicknamed the ball of the century. The world had officially been put on notice. And from there, he just kept going. In 2006, on his home turf in Melbourne, on Boxing Day of all days, he became the first bowler in the entire history of cricket to take 700 test wickets. It was a massive achievement for a truly monumental figure.
But for all its epic drama and legends, Australian cricket is also filled with some unbelievable characters and just plain bizarre moments. So let's finish up with a little quickfire round of some of the sport's weirdest and most wonderful facts. Okay, get ready for this. In 1979, the fast bowler Dennis Lillee actually tried to bat with an aluminum bat. It caused absolute chaos. For the longest time, two of Australia's top wicket takers shared the same middle name, Keith. How random is that? And my personal favorite, a batsman, Javed Miandad, sledged the bowler Merv Hughes, calling him a fat bus conductor. So Hughes gets him out the very next ball and yells, "Tickets, please." It's just classic.
When you look at it all together, the story of Australian cricket really is the story of Australia. It's this amazing journey, from the forgotten brilliance of its First Nations pioneers to the birth of a bitter rivalry, the rise of a perfect hero, and the arrival of a modern-day rock star. It really does reflect the country's past and its present. Which, I guess, leaves just one question. What story will it tell next?